I'm Lucinda Green, and with me we have Juliette Edmonds, who's Petplan Equine Ambassador and vet, and we're going to discuss what happens when you try to bring your horse back into work after having a layoff. Juliette, we wanted to start by first of all saying you've got the horse off the grass. He's been out maybe for a couple of months. You've got him in the stable. Would you trot him up?
Be a good idea to check he was sound before you started, particularly if he's had an injury recently, wouldn't it? So it can be helpful to have a vet check before you get started. Make sure the back and the tack is all fitting well and the saddle is still fitting. Have the vet to have a look at the teeth before you get started to make sure he's comfortable.
The feeling I have is that if you're going to trot them up, I'd tack them up first, because just trotting them up can get rid of a little bit of, oh, what's that funny thing on my back that maybe I haven't had for a month or two.
Absolutely. I think plenty of groundwork before you get started, really, to make sure he's accustomed to wearing his tack again and sort of in the mode again, thinking of work again after you come off the field for a few months. Can be a little bit exciting to suddenly be back in an arena and working.
Quite nice to go out with somebody else if you get the chance to grab a friend.
Definitely another sensible horse, which is...
sensible.
Yeah, going to be well behaved and not setting your horse off.
So, Juliette, if you're going to trot your horse out to make sure it's sound, just say you're not terribly knowledgeable about horses and you've yet to learn exactly what a sound horse and an unsound horse looks like. It takes a bit of finding that sort of thing. What would you do and how would you trot it up?
Well, I mean, to start with, you can have a look at the horse yourself, watching it move in a straight line, at walk and at trot in a straight line on a hard, level concrete surface.
Or tarmac.
Or tarmac, yeah. It just needs to be firm and level, really. And useful to have sort of your instructor have a look as well, perhaps, used to seeing the horse's way of going. But really, particularly if the horse has been off with injury, for example, you should have a veterinary checkup just to make sure that the horse is completely sound and comfortable before you start working.
All right, and then moving on to this sort of subject of lunging, I think we both agree that you really need to go on that level surface and walk for quite a few weeks. However, if you've got one that you think might be about to buck you off, what would you do?
Well, lunging can, in some circumstances, be necessary to try and get some fizz out of the horse, and obviously safety is the prime concern for the rider, but for the horse's welfare we really would try and avoid lunging, just because it puts so much strain on the joints and ligaments, and we're talking about horses here which have been out of work and are not fit. Absolutely. So we almost risk injury just from that point of view, really. So try and avoid lunging if you can, but if it is necessary for the rider's safety, then of course the safety has to come first.
Would you adjust his feet?
Well, I mean, I'd start by looking at the horse. I mean, look at its weight and condition, and look at the sort of type of horse that you've got. You know, is it a really good doer, or is it one that maybe struggles to keep weight on? But bringing a horse into work, I mean, predominantly, I suppose they're going to have been on grass and on hay, and to start with, that should be enough. Plenty of energy when they're coming back into walk exercise, and we can consider putting in some hard feed later on when they're back up expending a bit more energy, if necessary. But a lot of these horses will work to a reasonable level without any additional feed at all. Maybe, sort of supplementary fibrous food, but hard feed may not be necessary, and certainly not in the first instance.